Hello everybody, welcome back to another Dead by Daylight related video today. I'm back and we're going to be talking about the brand new developer update for the All Things Wicked PTB. Woohoo! That's what I'm talking about. Now, you guys might be wondering, Mac, why have you not made a video regarding the Wicked, All Things Wicked chapter? And here's the honest truth, the honest answer. Recently, guys, I had gotten sick. Very, very ill, in fact, and I needed a lot of the time to recover. And because of that, I was not able to be here for that update when it came around for the PTB. But also, more importantly, there's been a lot of other games and stuff too. So, like, man, like we're talking about Helldivers 2, we're talking about all these other games that have come out and have also been releasing patches and stuff that, to me, was a little bit more interesting at the time. That when I did feel a little bit better at some point, I wanted to go ahead and check that out. Because of course I have been sick since this last month since the Unknown has come out. I've been only sick for a portion of that, but then outside of that, there's also other games that I wanted to give it a shot too. And then beyond that, like we always know, work is an ever-consuming thing in my life. So therefore, until I can muster up enough time between my schedules and having my relationship, trying to create content regularly at certain points in my life is going to be very difficult. So I do apologize for not being able to get any videos out, but today we're going to get another video out discussing some of these changes from that update. Although I wasn't a part of it, I did witness it. Okay, and don't worry, I'm going to have my own video out on the Unknown whenever he comes out for that update, whenever it comes out, which I'm pretty sure is going to probably be 4 days from now, next Tuesday. This is currently March 8th when I'm recording this, and we'll see how soon this comes out. So I will at some point have a video regarding this topic, regarding this chapter and all of these changes. With that being said, let's go ahead and read the developer update called All Things Wicked. Okay, man, immediately off the bat, they basically acknowledge that they have restructured this developer update to kind of make it a bit more concise and easier to read, which I'm going to be able to appreciate. But let's go ahead and read this right here. We got, first off, an image right here of the chapter content. God, I love how slow that loaded. We have the Hag, Pig, Huntress, Clown, Demogorgon, Doctor, Blight changes. We have a new chapter, The Unknown, and then the new Survivor Sable Ward that everybody's obsessing over. We have the Greenville Square map, which I honestly didn't really get to see too much about the layout of this map, but I did see some key parts of it, which are very, very fun. We got a handful of new perks. We got some features, invocation perks. We got options to disable copyrighted music, and blood web improvements, mangled update, new player card designs, new lobby theme. Basically stuff that kind of comes with a lot of other chapters, but it's okay. But ultimately good options here, good features. But we have an update on these items. It starts out by saying, the All Things Wicked PTB has come and gone. As always, our team has discussed the feedback that you've shared with us on all the new and changed content, and we prepared a series of adjustments which will be made before this update goes live. And this post, we'll go through each of them and provide a brief explanation of our thought process. We're going to try out a new less wordy format this time, so feel free to let us know what you think. Unknown. Okie dokie. Weakness duration was now increased by 6 seconds when the survivor is injured by the UVX. They've increased the hindered effect on airborne hits from 3% to 6%, and they also increased the blindness duration for the homemade mask add-on to 60 seconds. It was 45 seconds. So we got an add-on change, but then we also got an increased hindered effect on airborne hits by just a very tiny, minute percent. The developers commentated saying that the weakness effect was a little bit too easy to remove during the PTB, which meant that the killer would often have to hit a healthy survivor 4 times the downtime. By increasing the weakness's duration, and the survivor got hit by a blast, accurate killers would need 1 less shot to down a survivor. To me, this is a great change. The reason why I consider this a great change is because, number one, 4 hits with an ability is a lot of hits to injure or down a survivor. Number one. Number two, if this pans out to be true, with what the developers are commentating here, rewarding players for becoming skilled with a killer is a good thing. We don't want killers to be really easy to down people, but we also don't want killers to be like basically really difficult and complicated, because to get the conditions in which you need to effectively use that killer, if that was like hard, if that was very minute or niche, that'd be very difficult to make any progress with the killer. And we don't like killers like that, okay? You and I could probably always agree that killers who are just by design weak are just not very fun to play as, and it's a waste of your money and my money. Okay, and we want to see behavior continue. We like this game, right? So being able to reward people for becoming skilled with a killer and using their ability properly is always a good thing. And they also increase the hindered effect to adjust the feedback of airborne hits, feeling a bit underwhelming. Again, more reward, but also rewarding skilled players. The pig, they reverted. A good revert. They decreased the reverse bear trap time to 150 seconds. It was originally 180 during the PTB. This had a lot of controversy when it came out, so good seeing them revert this based on community feedback is a good idea. My other question is, why would the developers bother to try touching things that they... I feel like they should probably have enough foresight to know that it's not worth touching. It's so funny to me how many times behavior will like take a bunch of requested features and content and like sideline that shit and make it like on the back burner, but then they will just start touching things that nobody asked them to. It kind of makes you ask, what are they doing with those resources if it's so like impossible to get the things done that we want them to get done, right? Basically, they commented saying that they wanted to shift some power away from the pig's reverse bear traps into her stealth and her ambush abilities to make her more fun and interactive to play. Many felt that this change was too significant during the PTBs, so we reverted her for the update's release. We'll keep a close eye on her performance once this update goes live and reevaluate the changes needed at a later date. In my opinion, you should be able to buff the pig's ambush ability and her stealth ability without having to touch the reverse bear traps. I don't think her reverse bear traps are suddenly super OP just because you buff the ambush and the stealth abilities. So doing that first before you touch her reverse bear trap timer, I think is just what all they needed to do there. I don't think they needed to do much else. The Huntress, also a great community feedback listen. They reverted. They decreased the Huntress's movement speed while holding a hatchet to 3.08 meters per second. It was 3.54 meters per second during the PTB. The change made it too forgiving for the Huntress to raise a hatchet at the wrong time, potentially even keep it up with the survivors and add-ons. We reverted this change to the update's release. A lot of people could agree the Huntress was at a pretty good spot. There was a skill cap for Huntress. Like, you could get good at the Huntress, but also if you play pretty poorly at Huntress, you can get punished for that. Huntress was a skill-based killer, and Huntress definitely has like one of the best projectiles in the game. So, I mean, them touching her wasn't like... It's not that they couldn't do that, in my opinion. I just kind of think the way that they touched her was a little bit too much. She could have probably appreciated some tiny tweaks, but I don't think having the ability to, have such a fast movement speed while holding a hatchet was important. We did see a lot of footage when that happened, with people basically catching up to survivors and chase, basically making it almost impossible to miss those, especially when the Huntress can get up to like 10 hatchets based on the add-ons that you brought. 10 hatchets and being able to catch up to the survivor who's sprinting at full speed away from you is absurdly OP. That's like, what are we doing here? Type of levels of OP and unbalance. The Clown minor update. The change. The Redhead Pinky Finger add-on now it limits the Clown's bottle carrying capacity to 1. The previously reduced capacity by 3. Basically stating because they're increasing the Clown's bottles, they have to change how the add-on works so that you still only had 1 bottle when you're using the Pinky Finger add-on. This allows you to, if you hit the survivor with the bottle, it allows you to basically one-shot them into the dying state, which is already one of those add-ons where it's like the Huntress's iridescent head, but because of the way that they increased the Clown's bottle capacity, it made it where you could get like 3 of those bottles, and that's a little bit too punishing. It makes that add-on a little bit too unbalanced. Because like the developers mentioned here, they basically stated, hey, if we're going to give you like a really OP add-on, there got to be some drawbacks to it to kind of keep it somewhat balanced, even though if by nature a lot of these things are just not going to be balanced at all. Invocation, Weaving Spiders. This is the perk. They changed it now. They said when the invocation is completed, permanently reduce the required charges of all generators by 10. And they previously added 15 charges of progress from the PTB. Now here's a question. Because this is a pretty significant change by making it where the required amount of charges is reduced versus adding charges of progress. What is the purpose of that? And I mean, if anybody watches this and they want to give me some feedback as to why they might think so, please give me the feedback. Why would they just reduce the 15 charges of progress to 10 charges of progress? Because wouldn't that just basically match them reducing the amount of charges to the generators are required to get by 10? Like, why do they make it where generators have less charges to complete the gen versus just adding charges of progress? Could they just have made the 15 charges of progress 10%, or not 10%, 10 charges, and then have that be the equivalent of just reducing all generator charges by 10? I wonder why they changed it in this way. This seems a bit interesting to me. The only thing I could think of here is for killers not to be able to kick and instantly regress his progress if he spent all that time committing to it. Because they mentioned here about interrupting the time, interrupting invocation would be a lot of time wasted, which is interesting. So maybe they didn't want people kicking the generators. You gotta leave the comment section down below for me what you guys think. Strength and shadows. They increased the healing speed to 70% and 60%. This is pretty self-explanatory. They wanted to make it a little bit more rewarding whenever you're using this in the basement. So I'm not really upset about this perk. Wicked. Major update, guys. This is a major, humongous update. A lot of people acknowledge that whenever they released the original version of Wicked, it was a useless perk. It was just kind of like, oh, they must have had like not enough time to program a proper perk and come up with a good idea. So here's a placeholder idea. And now it basically says that your self-hook attempts in the basement will always succeed, and when you are unhooked or you unhook yourself, you see the aura's the killer's aura for 16, 18, 20 seconds. Is this good or not? Here's my prediction time. My prediction is pretty and overwhelmingly no. It's not that there isn't situations where this perk can prove to be pretty useful. My problem with this perk is pretty much like how often do people get hooked specifically in the basements where they're able to unhook themselves with a perk Wicked. So I think in most situations it's not going to be very useful. It's going to be a waste of a perk slot. But also I could see a reality where you're running this perk and you annoy the shit out of a killer because you get to unhook yourself out of there. But then it's a one-time use as well because, again, you go from the first hook stage to where you can attempt an escape to the rest. So it's like, is Wicked really worth it versus just Deliverance where you can unhook yourself as long as you unhook somebody in the match prior to that? Probably not. Probably Deliverance would still be the better perk here just because it has a general use where you could use it for any hook. Basically does this. And seeing the killer's aura is not that important. Especially for some like skilled survivors. The watch list. Okay, so Dead by Daylight is always changing, and with the watch list covers a few things we'll be keeping an extra close eye on once the update goes out. And they said, as a disclaimer, the things on the list are not guaranteed to be changed. The unknown is they acknowledge, hey, new killers take time to settle a little bit. They don't want to make huge sweeping changes to the killer until the killer gets acclimated enough and people really get to work their way with that killer to make sure that they're making the proper changes later. Why do all the overhauling now and making major changes if later they can make the more accurate changes instead of wasting time? Which is a good philosophy to have. My only question is, if this is the way that they feel, what takes them an entire month between the PTB and the live game to make all of these small number changes and tweaks? You know what I'm saying? I don't get it. And then Invocation Wave expires with the brand new mechanic. It takes some time to see how Invocation perks fit into the game. The effect is strong but carries a significant risk. Be watching closely to make sure that they end up in a good spot strength-wise. Invocations could be very interesting to see how these will shake up the meta of the game. Because I just know in the future we're going to have like the same discussion where people are going to be outraged by the fact that one of the invocation perks of the future is going to be like super strong. And it's going to like break the game. The pig, as mentioned previously, we made some pretty significant changes to the pig's ambush ability and their left her reverse bear trap timer untouched for the time being. We'll monitor her performance in the near future to ensure that these changes don't push over the top and reevaluate as needed. I don't think so. I don't think her reverse bear traps are strong, but also her ambush ability is pretty weak. So buffing that a little bit is not going to be problematic in my opinion. I think it'd be just fine. Pig deserves some love. But that being said, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys, of course, enjoyed. You guys always. If you did enjoy the video, please be sure to leave all the feedback down in the comment section down below. And be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And I guess I'll see you guys all next time. Peace out.